a lot of other musical styles. I did a lot of jazz and some fusion and Latin music as well. But yeah, after these 4 years, and I truly enjoyed.
Viewers across the globe know her as Sina Drums, a YouTube sensation with jaw-dropping skills, millions of fans, and viral covers that continue to circulate like wildfire. But beneath that digital spotlight lies a darker, more painful reality that rarely makes it to the front page of any feed. Today, we peel back the layers of viral fame to reveal the emotional and financial roller coaster that one young woman endures behind the beat. Sina Drums is not just another talented musician, she is a living paradox. On one hand, she represents the power of the internet to launch an unknown name into global consciousness. On the other, her story underscores a brutal truth of the creative industry that success online doesn't always translate into stability offline. With millions watching, few realize the silent toll that follows every upload, every edit, every practice session in the dead of night. This is not a story of fame, it's a story of fight, and it all begins not on a stage, but in a quiet town in Germany, where music was never just a sound, it was the very fabric of a young girl's life. Born in the picturesque city of Marburg, Germany, Sina was raised in a home where music didn't just play in the background, it pulsed through the walls. Her mother, an amateur pianist and singer, and her father, a seasoned touring musician, infused every corner of her childhood with harmony, discipline, and deep emotional connection to sound. While most children were learning to ride bikes or playing with toys, Sina was traveling with her father on music tours, observing the reality of performance life from backstage shadows and dimly lit green rooms. This exposure wasn't romanticized, it was raw, real, and unfiltered. From missed meals to spontaneous rehearsals, she saw firsthand the labor behind the art. The foundation of her discipline wasn't built in a music school, but in worn-out vans, hotel lobbies, and smoky clubs where music bled into the night. This immersive upbringing didn't just introduce her to rhythm, it carved rhythm into her identity. It was clear that for Sina, drumming would not be a hobby or a phase, it would be her voice, her escape, and eventually her lifeline. At the age of 10, a single act would unknowingly redirect Sina's life forever. Her father purchased a drum kit for a studio recording, not for her, but for work. Yet Sina gravitated to the instrument with an almost eerie natural instinct, and from the moment her sticks hit the skins, something awakened. Unlike most children who dabble and drift, she committed. Every afternoon turned into focused practice. Every weekend became an intensive session in technique and timing. Her dedication wasn't forced, it was innate. By 11, she recorded her first commercial track, an unheard-of feat that catapulted her out of childhood obscurity and into the realm of serious musicianship. The kit, initially a tool for someone else's project, became her personal compass. The speed at which she learned and evolved wasn't just impressive, it was staggering. With no formal instruction, and only her fierce will guiding her, Sina transformed from a curious kid to a self-taught prodigy. Her journey didn't begin on a stage. It started in a bedroom with a second-hand drum kit, a mountain of resolve, and a father who, though not a drummer himself, saw a fire in his daughter's eyes that even the best educators couldn't replicate. Sina's digital journey didn't begin with a marketing plan or viral strategy, it began with impulse. After tirelessly perfecting a complex dream theater track, she decided to record a simple performance video and upload it to YouTube. No thumbnails, no hashtags, no expectations. But the internet had other plans. That video ignited curiosity, then conversation, then obsession. The comments were flooded with disbelief. How could someone this young, this composed, this technically flawless be so unknown? It wasn't long before the video snowballed into a phenomenon, drawing viewers from all corners of the world and pulling Sina into the whirlwind of digital fame. Unlike many who chase algorithms, Sina had stumbled into them organically. With each new upload, she wasn't just gaining views, she was gaining loyal followers who saw more than a drummer. They saw a voice, a discipline, a spark. The camera didn't just capture her hands, it captured her soul. And just like that, Sina Drums became a movement. Not a trend, not a gimmick, but an unfolding story, one that would only get louder. Then came the moment that transformed Sina from rising star to viral legend, her drum cover of Dire Straits' Sultans of Swing. What began as just another upload turned into a cultural wave. The video exploded beyond anyone's expectations, eventually amassing over 70 million views and becoming the most watched drum cover on all of YouTube. But it wasn't just about numbers. This performance embodied the perfect storm of technique, soul, and charisma. She didn't just play along, she reinterpreted the groove with a freshness that rekindled the song for a new generation. Seasoned drummers, rock purists, and casual listeners alike found themselves mesmerized by her presence and precision. The comments section turned into a fan shrine. Mainstream media took notice. The world finally saw what a decade of drumming passion could become. But while that video made her a household name in drumming circles, what it didn't show was the behind-the-scenes battle she was quietly losing, the financial nightmare lurking in the shadows of her newfound visibility. As Sina's name soared alongside view counts, a creative restlessness began to surface, one that couldn't be silenced by another cover or another trending song. While her drum renditions drew admiration from fans worldwide, Sina knew deep inside she was not born to echo others' genius forever. She was an artist, not just an interpreter. Determined to escape the digital box that threatened to define her, she pursued original music, not for fame but for truth. Teaming up with talents like Brian Williams, she stepped beyond replication and into composition, exploring new rhythms that spoke from her own soul. But it was the project that truly embodied her evolution, an ambitious global collaboration, inviting musicians from all walks of life to join her in creating an original album. This wasn't a stunt, it was a statement, a manifesto against being boxed in by content expectations. With the project, Sina became more than a drummer. She became a curator of talent, a leader of innovation, and a champion of authenticity in a space often ruled by repetition. And while the internet measured her in likes, she was already measuring herself by impact. While most viral artists were busy chasing their next trending upload, Sina did something few could believe. She enrolled in a prestigious music academy, determined to sharpen her craft the traditional way even as she dominated YouTube. Balancing the chaotic rhythm of live European tours with the structure of academic rigor, she split her days between backstage sound checks and classroom theory. One night she'd be performing with seasoned bands, the next morning she'd be dissecting jazz structures or studying music history. This dual life wasn't glamorous, it was exhausting, but it was also essential. Sina wasn't content being famous. She wanted to be excellent. Her educational journey gave her not just technique, but context. Not just knowledge, but confidence. It transformed her from a skilled performer into a complete artist, armed with insight and credibility. And while fans saw glossy videos online, behind the scenes was a young woman sacrificing sleep, social life, and comfort for growth. It was discipline wrapped in chaos, and Sina walked the tightrope daily, all without losing her footing. Millions of views, thousands of fans, global recognition. From the outside, Sina drums appeared to be living every musician's dream. But behind the applause was a financial horror story few expected. The very platform that catapulted her to fame also chained her to a system that penalized creativity through complex copyright laws. Though her videos raked in massive traffic, the income often didn't follow, especially for covers. Instead of being paid for her work, Sina watched ad revenue from her most successful videos redirected to copyright holders, thanks to YouTube's automated content ID system. While fans assumed she was profiting, she was barely breaking even. Some of her highest performing uploads earned her less than a fraction of what a sponsorship or tour might. It was a painful contradiction. The bigger she got, the more invisible her earnings became. This wasn't just discouraging, it was debilitating. A reminder that in the music industry, visibility doesn't guarantee viability. And as her fame surged, Sina faced the same question haunting countless digital artists. How do you make a living off something the system refuses to reward? Rather than surrender to the digital system's unfair rules, Sina pivoted. She began carving out alternative paths to sustainability, turning to platforms like Patreon, where her most devoted fans could support her directly. There, she didn't just offer early access or bonus content, she built relationships, fostering a creative family that appreciated her work beyond algorithmic validation. She supplemented that with merchandise, digital music sales, and occasional live shows, each one a lifeline in a world where YouTube ad revenue couldn't be trusted. This wasn't about ego, it was about survival. About proving that artists could still thrive on their own terms if given the chance. Sina built a model based not on exploitation, but on connection. One that traded virality for value. And while it required constant hustle, it gave her something YouTube never did: control. It was far from easy, but it was hers. And in the face of mounting pressure, Sina's resilience became just as impressive as her rhythm. She wasn't just drumming for views anymore, she was fighting for dignity. Behind every flawless drum solo and confident camera stare, Sina was fighting a quieter war, one that most fans never saw. The emotional cost of constantly producing, constantly performing, and constantly pushing without financial security began to mount. The stress of staying relevant, of pleasing algorithms, of wondering whether the next upload would be her last viral moment, it all took a toll. Like many artists living in the age of digital demand, Sina often found herself trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, burnout, and exhaustion, all while smiling for the camera. The irony was unbearable. A girl loved for her music struggling in silence to keep making it. Her journey reveals a truth few platforms dare admit, that the pursuit of creative freedom is often laced with isolation and pressure, and yet she continues. Each upload, each beat, each collaboration is not just content, it's survival, it's therapy, it's rebellion. Sina is more than a drummer, she's a symbol of what it means to create in a world that constantly asks for more, but rarely gives back. And that quiet, persistent courage may be her greatest masterpiece of all. As the final beats of Sina Drum's story echo into the present, what remains is not just the sound of cymbals or the memory of viral videos, but a powerful reminder that talent alone is never enough in a world shaped by unpredictable algorithms and unforgiving industry dynamics. Her legacy is not defined by her YouTube metrics or streaming numbers, but by the quiet defiance she demonstrates every time she chooses to continue. Sina didn't just teach us how to reinterpret rock classics, she taught us what it means to survive as a modern-day artist. Her journey has become a case study in contradiction, adored by millions, but paid by few, celebrated publicly while suffering privately, lifted by fans, yet crushed by the system. And through it all, she never stopped drumming. That persistence, that refusal to quit, is where her true greatness lies. In every rhythm she crafts, there's a message for every artist watching, that the road to creation is brutal, thankless, and often invisible. But it is also sacred. Sina's voice isn't only heard in her playing, it's embedded in the very struggle she refuses to hide. And for that she will always be more than a drummer. She will be remembered as a symbol, not just of rhythm, but of resilience. This report reflects the true life journey of Sina Drums, based on publicly available interviews, documented performances, and verified fan-reported insights. All commentary regarding emotional impact and financial struggles is shared to raise awareness about broader issues facing modern musicians and digital creators. If Sina's story moved you, consider supporting her directly on Patreon or by streaming her original music, because behind every beat lies hours of unseen effort. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more deep dive stories, and share this with a fellow music lover who thinks success always looks like a highlight reel. And remember, what you see on the surface never tells the whole story, and in the world of creators, sometimes the silence between the notes is the loudest cry for help.